Good evening. Thank you for joining me. I'm doing some updates on the conflicts in the Black Sea and the Baltic Sea. I'm going to go over those cables, communications underwater, and some things going on in Georgia, and basically some prophecies. So let's start with this story. Finland prosecutes captain and bosun in anchor dragging incident. If you recall, I've covered this back in, I think, February. The anchor dragging incident. Here's the Baltic Sea, and then here's the Black Sea. So the Finnish prosecutors filed charges against the captain and bosun of a small cargo ship that they reported damaged two subsea telecom cables on December 31st, and that they believe were attempting to damage additional cables when the ship was stopped. A decision on possible charges against two other officers from the cargo ship, who are also detained in Finland, will be made at a later date. The captain, who is a Russian citizen, and the bosun, who is an Azerbaijani citizen, were each charged with quote-unquote aggravated criminal mischief and aggravated interference with telecommunications. Prosecutors said the charges also include alternate indictments, with the newspaper reports saying the offenses carry prison sentences ranging between 2 and 10 years. These charges stem from that incident that I told you about on December 31st, when Finnish telecom company Elisa reported a fault on one of its cables running between Estonia and Finland. So here to here. Oh, there it is. Finland, Estonia, 3. And then later, Swedish telecom company Reliance also reported an interruption on another cable running between Estonia and Finland. Regarding these cables, Vodafone Group and Vodafone Ukraine to build new submarine cable system across Black Sea. So they're set to soon begin construction of a new high-capacity submarine cable system in the Black Sea, which will create a modern digital corridor between Europe and Asia. The Cardessa submarine cable system plans to have landing points in Bulgaria, Georgia, Turkey, and Ukraine, increasing the diversity of digital routes through the region. Cardessa will improve internet reliability and speed for customers in the countries where it lands and spur inward investment into their digital economies. First cable landing in Bulgaria will be in 2027. Followed by landings in Turkey, Georgia, and Ukraine. Work in Ukraine will take place only in internationally recognized safe zones. Now, this Xterra has been contracted to manage and deliver the project, which will cost over 100 million euros to fully build and install. The Cardessa cable system will add over 500 terabytes per second of internet capacity through the Black Sea region. The demand globally for new internet traffic routes is growing exponentially. There are 5.8 billion mobile users worldwide. Wow. 80% of whom own smartphones. 80%, people. Wow. We are in the digital age, aren't we? We're really kind of detached to this. The number of mobile users is expected to grow by 12% by 2030, and the growing usage of 5G, AI streaming services, and the Internet of Things will further increase the demand for internet capacity. Submarine cable systems are estimated to carry 97 to 98% of international internet traffic, and every new route is critical to the digital economy. 97 to 98% international internet traffic. Do you see any dangers to that? I mean, really, when you think about it, the fact that Russia's cutting cables, anybody can do that, and they're going to put more in and more reliability on these systems. But anyway, I'm giving you that information. They're trying to bypass Russia and go straight through here, which is this corridor: Bulgaria, Georgia, Turkey, and Ukraine. So it's between Europe and Asia. They're just going to use this Cardessa, they think, that's going to give them the internet they need and that bypass Russia. Obviously, the Baltic Sea friction has been going on for a while. NATO and Russian naval forces are actively mirroring each other's movements, transforming the Baltic into a secondary friction point of high alert military posturing. Then you have the Black Sea. Okay, here Ukraine targets 20 Russian vessels in an overnight Black Sea drone attack. This was a few days back. It's gotten really bad. Baltic Sea shipping crisis deepens as attacks intensify. The attacks have increased concerns over the safety of commercial shipping through Ukraine's Black Sea ports. Ukraine's agriculture ministry said ship owners have temporarily suspended vessel arrivals for agricultural exports following a rise in Russian strikes on ports and merchant vessels. Traders and analysts that estimate that Ukraine has lost around 1/3 of its Black Sea grain export capacity due to missile and drone attacks. As the war continues, both Russia and Ukraine have intensified operations across the Black Sea and Sea of Azov, with dozens of commercial and military-linked vessels, including tankers and cargo ships, caught in the escalating conflict. Russia halts shipping through Don Azov Canal after Ukrainian attack. The decision was reportedly taken after Ukraine attacked 13 Russian vessels in the Sea of Azov on July 10th, including 10 tankers. Market analysts note that up to a quarter of wheat exports from Russia, the world's largest wheat exporter, passed through the Sea of Azov. One source said Russian border guards had informed shipping companies that all applications for passage through the Kerch Strait, which connects the Sea of Azov with the Black Sea, would be suspended from 1810 local time on 10 July onwards. Did not notify when the restrictions will be lifted. Wheat futures on the Euro-Next exchange rose by 4% on July 10th, reaching a 6-week high amid rumors of a possible halt to shipping through the Sea of Azov. I'm seeing as a growing problem with people having oil, gas, food, grain. They're both doing the same thing, and I see that very detrimental to people, trying to live in those areas, just like in the Middle East with what's going on there. It just seems like they're trying to end people's ability to have things that are needed. I mean, there's fertilizer, there's oil, there's grain, there's water. I mean, there's all these issues of what's necessary to live, and that's a real concern. Like I said, it's a mutual economic stranglehold. So this could trigger a global grain crisis. Lord have mercy. Now I'm going to go into another story that's important out of Georgia. We have this happened. It was basically a fist fight in the Georgian Parliament. I'm just going to show you that part here.
ახლოს არ ჩანს კადრი და ბედვარჩენ კონკრეტულად რომელ დეპუტატებსა შორის არის დაპირისპირება. პარლამენტში გრძელდებოდა ამ დრომდე ირაკლი კობახიძის მოსმენა, როგორც ხედავთ, ფიზიკურ შემოსვლას აქვს ადგილი, ასევე პარლამენტის მანდატური სამსახურები ცდილობენ რომ გააშველონ ყოფი პირები. ჩვენ ვეცდებით ახარიას გუნდის წარმომადგენლებს ხედავ მე ამ პროცესში. გიორგი შარაშიძე ჩანს, რომელიც ასევე იღებს ამ ყველაფერში გამშველებლის როლში, ესე ვთქვათ, მონაწილეობას ჯერჯერობით არ ვიცი.
So what are they fighting over? Well, Georgian authorities are using repressive, according to this article, laws funding restrictions and politically motivated criminal investigations to dismantle independent civil society, says this Human Rights Watch. New laws place virtually all foreign funding under strict government control, impose stigmatizing foreign agents, quote-unquote, labels, and threaten activists and independent groups with severe fines and prison sentences. In April 2025, Parliament adopted a separate Foreign Agents Registration Act, which could cover virtually any organization cooperating with international donors or sharing even the most routine information with foreign partners. Its vague and overly broad definitions give the authorities wide discretion to apply the law arbitrarily against independent groups and individuals. Those deemed foreign agents must register, submit detailed reports on their activities, finances, and beneficiaries, and mark all their materials with the quote-unquote foreign agent label. The law imposes criminal liability for even minor violations of its requirements, with penalties of up to 5 years in prison. Now, my view on that is, isn't that what we're trying to do with AIPAC? Or we should be doing what we were trying to do with AIPAC? They're trying to protect their country from foreign interference, which is real. If you remember back, I think it was in December 2024, Romanian and Georgian elections were meddled with through NATO members. And as you see, the Romanians couldn't get in the guy they wanted for their president. And then apparently, though, the Georgia Dream party did get in, and they're the ones that are against the foreign. So basically you have those Georgia, the way I understand it, Georgia Dream, you could say, to make it easy, the Georgia Dream party, from what I understand, is more friendly to Russia, and the other party is not. And so they are very heavily influenced by NATO members. This is what's going on. That was what that brawl was. And they think it's extreme. Oh, they're jailing people. They're doing all this because of what's going on there. It's like a civil war in the Congress there, their Congress, equivalent of that in the Parliament. And I just found that interesting because we don't do much for our foreign involvement. Anybody that's foreign should be registering as a foreign nation. So I can understand why Georgia is doing that. And, I mean, the Georgia government. But, of course, they're saying it's terrible. Throwing people in prison and all that or in jail isn't great, but still just tells me that they're not for this globalist thing, the way I understand it. All that information that I just gave you, what's going on in the Baltic and the Black Sea, and what's going on with Georgia. We have this struggle going on, as you just saw, in Georgia. And this is crucial to some of the prophecies. I'm going to share with you some of these that seem to be connecting. First, I'm going to give you this South Ossetia profile. And the reason I'm saying that is because the first Russo-Georgian war in 2008 was in this area. This area here is 80 miles from the capital. South Ossetia saw a brief war between Russia and Georgia in 2008. Moscow subsequently recognized South Ossetia as an independent state and began a process of a closer ties that Georgia views as effective annexation. And I'll remind you why this happened. It's happened because of Western influence. And they're as we know, they're trying to get Georgia to be against Russia. It's the same thing. traditionally Orthodox countries, the West is trying to split up. I mean, we already saw that with Russia and Ukraine. We see it with Estonia. We see it with Georgia. There's a real tug of war going on here. The West is a tool of the evil one going against Christ's church. That's how I see it. It's trying to splinter Orthodox churches. I mean, not only do we have that ecclesiastically through the ecumenical patriarch and the split with Moscow and everything else, we have it geopolitically. I just wanted to give you that information because this area here is the spot where we have to watch for, which I'll show you in a minute. I need to get you Elder Joseph's prophecy once again on this to explain here. The first war is between Russia and Georgia. It happened in 2008, yes, in South Ossetia. That's what that was about. Russia will be challenged again by Georgia, and this time Russia will destroy it completely. Georgia is the Americans' embankment to delay the Russians so that America and Israel can attack Iran undisturbed. However, Putin declared that by attacking Iran, he is seizing Georgia, which is strategically a critical point. Unfortunately, the civilian casualties in Georgia will be terrible. Well, let's hope not. And it goes on about the Ukrainian issue. Okay, now what I want to say about that is Elder Gabriel had said something about that. He said that the Russians will march through Georgia on the way down to the Middle East, Turkey and all that. That Georgia will melt like wax, candle wax, but it will survive. It'll rise up again. And it was, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he had said about it. Now let me give you Elder Jonah's information on Georgia. He says he advised Georgia to revise their views because, quote, the Lord will tolerate the disguised government until the Easter hours. This is important because he's telling them to revise their views. Part of the Georgian government is trying to do that. The other part isn't. The other parties aren't. So there is that effort to try to change this from falling into the NATO trap. So I'm going to remind you, with all the stuff that's going on here, with Georgia, Russia, Ukraine, the Baltic states, Black Sea region, I'm going to give you some more prophecies on this. According to Father Nikolai Guryanov, he said the sword of a terrible war constantly hangs over Russia, and only our prayers to the Holy Tsar martyr, Nicholas, will take away the wrath of God from us. We must ask the Tsar that there should be no war. He loves and pities Russia. If only you knew how he cries for us. And he reposed in 2002. This is concerning Russia's future by Bishop Theophan of Poltava. He says, "O Russia, Russia, how terribly has she sinned before the loving kindness of the Lord. The Lord God favored Russia, and he gave her that which he had not given to a single other nation on earth," according to him. And this nation turned out to be so ungrateful. She left him, she rejected him, and it is therefore that the Lord has given her over to be tormented by devils. The devils took up their residence in the souls of men, and the nation of Russia became possessed, literally devil-ridden. And all the terrible things that we hear about what went on and what continues to go on in Russia, all the sacrilege, all the militant atheism and theomachy, all of this stems from her being possessed by devils, but through the inexpressible mercy of God. This possession will pass and the nation will be healed. The nation will turn to repentance, to faith. That will occur, which none expects. Russia will be resurrected from the dead, and the entire world will be astonished. Orthodoxy in her will be reborn and triumph. But that orthodoxy which had existed formerly will be no more. That's quite interesting. The great Startsi have said that Russia will be reborn, that the people themselves will restore the Orthodox monarchy. The people. That's very interesting. The mighty Tsar will be placed upon the throne by God himself. He will be a great reformer, and he will be strong in the Orthodox faith. He will cast down the unfaithful hierarchs of the church. He himself will be an outstanding personality with a pure and holy soul. He will possess a strong will. He will be of the Romanov dynasty through the maternal line. He will be God's chosen one, obedient to the Lord in all things. He will transform Siberia. But this Russia will exist only for a very short time. Soon thereafter will come to pass that of which the Apostle John speaks in his Apocalypse. So I just found that very interesting. He's talking about after the fall of the Soviet Union and all that, but then I'm really finding this part very interesting. But that orthodoxy which had existed formerly will be no more. So maybe it wasn't, so maybe if they're getting a new star, maybe the former orthodoxy had become tainted. I'm not sure, but that seemed like a very important portion of that. And you'll notice that the Russian saints have the same prophecy and beliefs about this Tsar or this Orthodox ruler like the Greeks do. Okay, so Greeks are calling him St. John. They don't have a name for this one. They just say as a mighty Tsar. I find that very interesting. Two different traditions, and they say the same thing. And this last one I'll do, Prophecy 2. What I say, I do not say on my own authority, but rather it is that which I heard from divinely inspired Startsi. That is what I have conveyed. The Lord will show his mercy to Russia for the sake of the small number of true believers remaining in her. Yes, remember that. It only takes a few people to be praying for it to make a difference. In Russia, the Startsi used to say, through the will of the people, the monarchy and autocratic rule will be restored. The Lord has forechosen the future Tsar. He will be a man of burning faith, of brilliant mind, and of iron will. First of all, he will bring about order in the Orthodox Church by removing all the false heresy preaching and lukewarm hierarchs, and very many indeed, almost all, with few exceptions, will be those removed by him, while new ones, true and steadfast hierarchs, will take their place. Through the female line, he will be from the lineage of the Romanovs. Russia will be a mighty state, but only for a short time, as he said before. I found this very interesting. As you see, all of these things that they're trying to do against Russia, and those that are friends with Russia. Not saying that the Russian country is perfect. They still have the atheists, they have all these things, okay? So it's not that, but there are, as he said, the small remnant of those groups, those people, the real believers, the real dedicated people to God. He's going to listen to them. And I just found that fascinating, how it lines up with the Greek understanding of the ruler, the Orthodox ruler. But I have more to share with you. What's going on with the West, right? It's terrible right now. It's not good. The whole thing with the merging of the as I said, of American troops with the IDF is it's monstrous. It's horrible, and it's like there's no sovereignty for the U.S. anymore if this passes. I think it's gone through the House, but it hasn't gone through the Senate yet. I'm sharing this because I like I said, I found it ironic that it's the opposite in the Georgian Parliament, that they're trying to take out foreign interference. We're welcoming it in, which used to be called treason, what we're doing, what our government is doing. And I want to end with a reminder from Saint Paisios' prophecy on this issue. One morning, many years ago, as the elder sat in the courtyard of his cell with 5 or 6 pilgrims visiting him, he suddenly said, "Woe to the countries of the north." One of those present asked curiously, "Will poverty fall there, elder?" Because they were talking about the economic situation in the world. "Fire will fall from the sky," the elder replied. Since it was still the time of the Cold War between NATO and the USSR, another asked, "Will there be a world war? Will NATO strike the Poles, the Czechoslovakians, and the Belarusians, and the Russians, the Germans?" The elder shook his head and said, "Everyone will abandon the Russians and go with the Jews of America. The Russians will burn them." And let me remind you what Father Elpidios had also said. Russia is called by God, ordained by God, to destroy the American state right now. It is destined to destroy the satanic state of Europe and America, which surrendered themselves to Satan. So the elders, that's how they view spiritually what's going on with America and NATO, and then Russia and Belarus and all that. The Orthodox countries that are traditionally Orthodox. I found this information very interesting. I just wanted to bring it up because there's just a lot of, it is a world war because there's so many different wars going on at the same time. We are in it. And the elders have spoken out. And like I said, I did a video a few days ago with the 3 messages, the 3 visions from the Cardessa and the Theotokos and Elder Ephraim. So we see things are escalating, but we know what's supposed to happen or what's to happen. And as it said in that one portion that I read to you, that the bishop had said, he had said that the Lord will have mercy on Russia, all of Russia, because of that small group. It only takes a few people, where 2 or 3 are gathered. It only takes a few people, I believe. I mean, look at what happened with Jonah in Nineveh. How he had prayed for the people. And it's because of some, just that those prayers of dedicated, people, of people who really are asking for God's help and are sincere, he listens to. And that's why us repenting and continuing to ask for God's mercy is so important. This is what I'm thinking of tonight. Keep up the prayers. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for watching and for following my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Like my videos if you think they're worth liking. Share my videos if you think they're worth sharing. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when my videos come out. If you'd like to become a member, hit that join button at below this video. We have 3 tiers. The light a candle tier for $2.99. That's tier 1. Tier 2, coffee hour Java. That's for $4.99 a month. And then the research rudder tier 3 for $8.99 a month. Become a part of my team. If you would like to support me sporadically, you can still buy me a cup of coffee, and that link is in the description. Thanks so much for all of your support in any way you support me. God bless.